"You be the prince and I'll be the princess" is a line that Taylor Swift once penned. "Baby, it's a love story, so just say yes." Back in 2008, she was still a teenage country star, and it was during that time that she wrote the lyrics for that song. She would actually be living out those lyrics in real life more than 10 years later, which is something that nobody could have predicted. Indeed, Taylor Swift has just accepted the proposal of marriage from Travis Kelce, who is a star player for the Kansas City Chiefs. That is absolutely correct. The National Football League NFL champion and the pop queen have officially announced their engagement. All eyes around the world are on what could possibly be one of the most romantic stories of love in the modern era. However, what path did we take to arrive at this point? How did one of the most well-known women in the world develop romantic feelings for one of the most imposing athletes in football? If we want to truly comprehend the magic of this relationship, we must go all the way back to July of 2023. By this point in time, Taylor's Era Tour had already achieved the status of a cultural phenomenon. Friendship bracelets were donned by fans who filled stadium after stadium to capacity. A nod to lyrics from her song, "You're on Your Own, Kid," Travis Kelce had just finished another outstanding NFL season, and he was not merely observing from a distance. He was present in person at the location. He became a part of the bracelet trend, just as so many other Swifties have done. However, he did not simply create just any bracelet. He created one with his phone number written on it. And to be clear, I am referring to his phone number, not his jersey number. The plan that he came up with was audacious, humorous, and extremely Travis-like. However, there is a catch. Taylor is required to protect her voice in order to perform in those marathon 3-hour shows. As a result, she does not meet people before or after her performances. As a result, Travis never had the opportunity to present it to her in person. He subsequently acknowledged on his podcast that he was somewhat upset about the mischance. However, the attempt that appeared to be unsuccessful ended up planting the seed for everything that followed, because Travis shared the story on his podcast and it immediately went viral. The concept of the world's most famous pop star being courted by the superstar athlete was well received by fans. The narrative traveled so rapidly that it eventually ended up back in Taylor's hands. What initially appeared to be an opportunity that had been missed soon became something that was meant to be. It was not long before fans began to observe something that seemed out of the ordinary. Taylor's presence at games played in the National Football League. In the beginning, it appeared as though it would be nearly impossible. Taylor, who had just finished selling out stadiums all over the world, found herself in a suite at Arrowhead Stadium. She was shouting her support for number 87 at the top of her lungs. Her appearance was so compelling that the cameras could not resist cutting to her every few plays, and the fans watching at home were incredulous at what they were witnessing. All of a sudden, Swiftie Sundays replaced football Sundays as the most popular day of the week. Every week, clips of Taylor celebrating touchdowns became popular on the internet. Even the National Football League, NFL, joined in on the coverage, reposting her reactions and promoting her appearances. However, February 2024 brought the Super Bowl with it. Taylor sprinted onto the field of play and gave Travis a hug when the Kansas City Chiefs managed to pull off a nail-biting victory. At that point in time, surrounded by cameras, confetti, and chaos, it was no longer possible to deny the truth. This was not an attempt to garner publicity. This was not simply a fleeting romantic encounter. It was something that was actually real. The world had all the evidence it needed. Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce were in love with each other. The relationship was made even more unique by the equilibrium that existed between the two people. Travis was not the only person that Taylor was there for. She was also there for herself. Travis went along with her on her AIS tour whenever he was able to make time in his schedule, even though she was traveling all over the world. He was seen in Argentina, London, and even Asia, where he was able to blend in with the rest of the crowd, just like a true fan, as he sang along with tens of thousands of other people who are devoted to Taylor Swift. However, he did not simply remain standing in his position and cheer. During her Tortured Poets Department segment, which was one of the most memorable moments of the tour, Travis himself made an appearance on stage. He made an appearance in costume, played up the theatrics, and demonstrated to his fans how at ease he was with being a part of Taylor's world. The stadium was in a frenzy, and fans who were watching from home were unable to contain their excitement. It was no longer simply a romantic relationship between two people. The whole world was able to witness the partnership that had been established. Both families were gradually becoming involved in the narrative behind the scenes. Ed Kelce, who is Travis's father, made no secret of his enthusiasm for Taylor, praising her for her down-to-earth demeanor. Donna, his mother, was frequently photographed alongside Taylor while they were both dressed in suits. She appeared to be every bit the proud future mother-in-law. For Travis Kelce and his brother, Jason Kelce, began a relationship, and Jason assumed the role of unofficial commentator for their romance. He constantly made fun of Travis on his podcast, but it was clear that he was supportive of him. Jason was among the first to publicly celebrate when the engagement was at long last made official, and Swifties enjoyed every single second of it. That was followed by the arrival of August 2025, which brought with it the proposal. The announcement was released on Instagram, and the photographs looked as if they could have been taken from a film by Nicholas Sparks. Taylor is radiant in a straightforward but stylish ensemble. Travis is every bit the doting fiance, and the sunset is a golden hue, all of which are contained within the lush garden. English teacher and your gym teacher are getting married, Taylor wrote in a playful manner for the caption of her post. The fans began to panic and panic. However, there is one additional detail that made it even more enjoyable. Insiders have disclosed that the proposal had actually taken place 2 weeks before that. The couple had made the decision to keep it private, preferring to enjoy the joy themselves before welcoming everyone else into their happiness. That decision by itself revealed a great deal about the nature of their relationship. They have the ability to maintain an equilibrium between the public spectacle and private intimacy. It is obvious that no engagement can be considered complete without the presence of a ring. And wow, what an incredible ring this is. According to jewelry experts, it is reminiscent of vintage jewelry and features a huge diamond that could potentially be worth anywhere from $500,000 to several $1,000,000. There are even some who believe that there is a subtle design of a teacup concealed in the band. This is the ideal Easter egg for a couple such as this one. According to reports, Travis collaborated closely with a jeweler to ensure that the ring was personalized, timeless, and an ideal match for Taylor's sense of style. Social media sites were immediately flooded with close-up shots from fans who zoomed in to examine every single detail. So why is it that so many people connect with this love story? Due to the fact that it creates a sense of equality. Taylor has dedicated many years to writing about her experiences with heartbreak, growing up in the public eye, and trying to find a balance between celebrity and normalcy. Travis is familiar with the experience of living under constant scrutiny, facing pressure on the biggest stages, and performing when the stakes are extremely high. It appears that they have discovered someone who is able to comprehend what it is like to be at the top of the game while still longing for something that is authentic. The relationship that they have is not based on one of them making concessions for the sake of the other. It's all about showing up for one another in football stadiums and in concert venues, as well as making sure to enjoy the process while you're at it. Immediately after they announced their engagement, they were flooded with responses. Travis received congratulations from his fellow team members. Taylor supporters included celebrities, and the internet became a massive celebration as a result. Travis had finally succeeded in catching the most important ring of his life, or so sports writers jokingly claimed. Swifties flooded timelines with memes, edits, and even mashups of lyrics. For the first time in a long time, sports enthusiasts and music lovers were brought together by a single story, and both groups were insatiable. As I reflect on it today, the timeline feels like it is almost something out of a movie. July 2023, the friendship bracelet that was not received. Taylor will be cheering at games in the fall of 2023. The kiss at the Super Bowl in February 2024, which was filled with confetti. Travis will be making an appearance on stage at the Eras Tour during the summer of 2024. The garden proposal, which was completed in August 2025, made the project official. This engagement that resembles something out of a fairy tale is the culmination of the addition of another layer and another highlight in each and every chapter. However, it should come as no surprise that the same question is now on the minds of all people. What are we going to do next? The gossip regarding the wedding plans has already reached a fever pitch. Swifties are engaging in speculation regarding venues, guest lists, and even the locations they might choose for their honeymoon. There are those who believe that the wedding will be held in a magnificent cathedral in Europe. Other people are anticipating a ceremony on the beach that will be held away from the cameras and will be quiet. Furthermore, there are a few who think they will keep things simple and get married in Kansas City, which is where their story truly started. Whatever the situation, it is safe to say that this is going to be the wedding with the most viewers of the entire decade. Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce have written a love story that feels like it belongs in a fairy tale, beginning with a friendship bracelet that was fumbled and continuing with a love story that played out in public across stadiums and stages. Despite this, it is uncomplicated at its most fundamental level. Two people who are there for one another, who have faith in one another, and who enjoy each other's company. And this situation seems to be the ideal conclusion to one chapter of their lives, and the perfect way to begin the next for a man who has made a name for himself by catching passes that seem impossible to catch, and for a woman who has constructed her career around telling stories through song. So, what is your opinion on the matter? Is this one fairy tale that Taylor will decide to keep for herself and not include on her next album? Or will she write this love story into that album?